All right, so got asked to try and get this name out of here. The problem is it's cut off, and if you get it online, it is way super small, like that small. Um, so in order to get that name out, luckily you have an N that's mostly there, so we can actually use this. Um, so he was cutting it out of this, and I want to show him how to cut it out a little bit better. So if you cut or if you copy all, so Control Shift C, Control Shift V, it'll paste it into a new window. Usually that's my quick little way to get that. I'll grab a brush, take that, if you hold Control, you can use the color picker and get the blue for the most part, all the same. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go really, really light, like light threshold blue to try and weed out all the extra stuff that's there. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go freehand select just to get these edges of it. So now I want to get the rest of that end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this whole thing. I'm going to put it into its own layer because it won't extend the boundary otherwise. Now when I grab it, I can flip, and bring it down. And I'm going to use my M kind of as my guide. So if I've got that, I can go right to the edge of this, like right there. I go Control, image, canvas size, or sorry, canvas fit to layer. All right, so now I got Baltasar Leguizamon, or something. So I can cut out the rest of this because we do not need the O, we just need the hard end of the N. So freehand select again, I can color that. I'm gonna go twice over it so I get a little bit more into this edge. But now you can see that this blue is all around it. So we can use this. Now, once you're at this point, merge it down, right click, merge down. And we're gonna go, because we've been using this blue, we're gonna color to alpha this blue out of it. So I'm gonna come down, I'm gonna go color to alpha. It automatically wants to take out the white. Don't let it take out the white. Change it to the blue that you've been using. And it does this. So here, you have to fine tune a little bit. You might have to go a little bit more threshold. But if you go too much, then it disappears. So try and find that happy medium. I'm going to leave a little bit in there, and I can see I've got some issues here. So that might be a problem. And if you go too far, or if it starts to lose like the transparency here, you can see through it. You can use this opacity threshold, and it brings some of it back. But the problem is on the edge, it'll bring that back also. Okay. So I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to go with what I've got here, and I've still got some outside issues with this color, this bright aqua, almost whitish. You have to use the color first for it to pop up in the selector. I'm just going to leave that there just for good measure, just so we can see it. That. Go back to colors, color to alpha. Bring back to this color now. And you start to notice that the inside's getting real fuzzy and weird. We'll take care of that in just a moment. All right, from here, I've got the background pretty much gone. What I'm going to do is duplicate this layer. And we'll see why in a moment. So I'm going to silence that one. I want to use this entire layer here. And I'm going to color the whole thing black just to get the background. And I use this alpha mask, or the alpha channel. So now when I do this, okay, you see what I did wrong there? When I went to color it, it made this aliased edge, and I don't want that. So I do need to take more of that color out. And it won't work. Color to alpha will not work well when you have this alpha channel locked. So unlock it, come back to colors, color to alpha, go back to the original color that was there, and then mess with this a little bit. I want to kind of get some of that color out of it and go on. So we'll have an edge here. That's okay. Okay. So now from what we have, because this top layer I'm going to use for the inside part, and the bottom layer, this here, I want for the outer. So what I'm going to do is lock the alpha channel again. Sorry. Come back and color the whole thing black. Now, when you look at the top, it's got some inconsistencies, but not terrible. Turn this alpha channel back off. I'm just gonna go Control C, Control V. Now I've got a fairly consistent edge here. Now there's maybe a little bit that you might have to recolor and retouch. So you might have to go through and just hit them a little bit. But now if I drop the other one back on top, it's gonna bring back that blue. I don't want the blue. But what I also don't want is this black. So what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna cut out two different colors, and this is extreme because usually you're gonna have something that you're trying to cut out that's a heck of a lot better than this, with a more consistent color scheme than whatever's happening with this one. So I'm gonna go Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, to try to get this to be as constant as possible, like so I don't have any transparency showing through. Now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take out that blue color and I'm gonna take out the black color, and then we'll leave just the text behind. So to go colors, color to alpha, come to the blue. And I can go real high on this because I don't need any of that stuff inside of it. So that gets most of it. It'll leave some stuff behind, but not bad. I'm gonna go okay. Then I'm gonna go color to alpha. I'm gonna go black. Cut out the black. Now you're gonna still have this blue outside, but that's okay. Okay, and I'm going to go color selector. I'm going to grab that blue again. I'm going to color it a little bit. Color to alpha. That blue that I just used, and that should get most of the rest of it gone. I'm going to go transparency threshold a little bit further up. So now you have just the text behind. Yeah, it's got some red in it. So two things you could do. You could, if you are afraid that you're going to have really jagged edges, and this one might, you might do this. You might set the alpha lock and just color it. And you go, oh, okay, but it's got some weird things going on. So you could do that and just copy paste to try and get the edges a little bit more filled in. But then you're starting to also get these dots showing up, which you really don't want. And that's just an issue with having done the color to alpha stuff. And some of it is such a low transparency that you can actually pick it up with a low color, was the fuzzy select tool. So now that this filled it in pretty darn good. There's little itty bitty spots that need help, but for the most part, I'm gonna even go Control Z back to here. All right, I want to find a spot that's got this really low. Oh, well, I want to at least make sure that those really low spots are actually selected. So they all are. Control C, Control V, maybe one more. And that got most of it filled in. There's little itty bitty spots that need a little bit of help, but for the most part, you're good. Yes, it's a tedious process, but if you bring back the background, now you're looking at reasonably decent cutout that when you size it down and say if I'm putting it onto, I don't know, some sort of car, sneak peek, but if I want to put it down and use it as, like I said, if I want to use this as my signature, I just want to get it in the same ballpark. This is about 2 or 3 times as big as you would need it. So when you size it down, be about that size. And it looks totally fine. If you need a little bit harder outline, I would just Control C, Control V, and it gives you a little bit more in that really weak outside part, but it should be plenty good for what we're using it for.